Day started with me going way too hard on the squats, trying to impress, well, nobody. Just my own vanity. But by midnight, my gut was twisting like I'd swallowed a box of razor blades. I reached down to check the damage, and my hand came back slick with warm, sticky blood. I panicked and smashed the speed dial for my buddy Mikey. Oh, get over here. I'm dying. Bring the car. Mikey, bless his dumb heart, drifted my car to the front of my apartment building like he was in a Fast and Furious reject reel. He rushed up, saw the massacre on my bed sheets, and screamed like a little girl. Holy shit, Jax, just look at that blood. Did you start your period or something? I rolled my eyes so hard I almost saw my brain. Fuck off, Mike. He grabbed my arm to haul me up, grimacing. Dude, seriously, stick a pad on that or something. You are not bleeding all over my custom leather seats. That's Corinthian leather, man. Do you hear yourself right now? I groaned, clutching my stomach. I'm a dude. Where the hell am I gonna get a maxi pad? Mikey grinned that shit-eating grin he gets when he thinks he's a genius. Guess it pays to have a girlfriend, huh? Single dog. I got a stash of Tiffany's emergency supplies in the glove box here. He slapped a thick, winged sanitary pad into my hand. It felt wrong. It felt illegal. But my ass was leaking like a broken faucet. And Mikey looked ready to murder me if I stained his precious seats. So I stuck the damn thing in my boxers. We sped to the hospital. Even at this ungodly hour, the ER waiting room was packed with the dregs of the city. Drunks, fighters, and people coughing up lungs. I checked in and slumped into a plastic chair that smelled like bleach and despair. Mikey looked around nervously. Yo, Jax, my stomach is bubbling from those wings. Gotta go drop a massive log. You good here? Call me if you die. Standard Mikey. The guy spends half his life shitting or looking for a place to shit. Just go. I waved him off. Mikey hadn't been gone 5 minutes when they called my name. I shuffled into the exam room, waddling slightly to keep the pad in place. I sat down and immediately started explaining. Look, DOC, it's embarrassing, but I think I blew out a hemorrhoid. Bleeding like crazy down there. The doctor, a woman named Dr. Brenda Stahl, who had Karen written all over her face, didn't even look up from her clipboard. Save it, she snapped. Threatened miscarriage. We need to scrape you out immediately. My eyes popped out of my head. Excuse me. I tried to deny it, but she cut me off with a wave of her hand. She finally looked at me, her eyes dripping with disgust. I see girls like you every day in this ER. I know your type. Probably flushed a few mistakes down the toilet in college, didn't you? No self-respect. And now that you're getting older and used up, you're trying to trap some honest guy into being a stepdaddy. I was floored. Are you high? That is the most unprofessional shit I've ever heard. I'm filing a complaint. Dr. Brenda laughed. A dry hacking sound. Hit a nerve, did I? Classic broken down skank response. I'm just giving you a reality check, honey. Being a doctor is impossible these days. You tell the truth and the trash takes itself out to the complaint department. I could hear the people in the hallway murmuring, pointing fingers. The shame was burning my face, which was ridiculous because, hello, is it possible I'm just a guy with long hair? Bro, I'm back. You good? Mikey burst into the room just as I was about to explode. He threw his arm around my shoulder casually. Dr. Brenda's sneer deepened into a grimace of pure repulsion. Oh, look at this. You two aren't a couple. Young girls these days have no shame calling each other bro while bumping uglies in the dark. Mikey reacted like my shoulder was made of lava. He jumped back. Hands up. Whoa, lady, what the fuck? I'm straight as an arrow. What couple? Watch your mouth. I face-palmed. Mikey, shut up. She thinks I'm a woman. Listen up, stud. Dr. Brenda turned her venom on Mikey. I'd advise you to run. This girl is damaged goods. She sleeps around, gets knocked up and tries to pin it on nice guys like you. That baby probably isn't even yours. Don't be a sucker. Mikey looked like a deer in headlights. Baby who's pregnant? Jax, I was done. Are you mentally ill? I snarled here. I don't have the plumbing for that. IMA, enough with the act. Brenda slammed her clipboard down. Nobody buys the bush lesbian look anymore. Bottom line, do you want to be hospitalized or not? If you bleed out and die, don't blame me. I was fuming. This woman was a menace. Thank God I'm actually a man because if she said this to a vulnerable girl, she could ruin a life. I'm reporting you. Where is your supervisor? I demanded, my voice dropping an octave. Go ahead, Brenda challenged, crossing her arms. I have a waiting room full of patients who actually need help. Unlike you, you time-wasting little tramp. The crowd in the hallway, fueled by drama and boredom, started chiming in. Shameless. An old lady spat, doing dirty things and then harassing the doctor. Seriously, get on with it. I have a shift at the factory in 3 hours. A guy yelled. Look at her showing all that skin, slutty clothes. A bitter-looking soccer mom commented, if my daughter got knocked up without a ring, I'd beat her ass myself. Mikey got aggressive. Hey, shut your traps. My bro can wear whatever he wants. The 1800s called. They want their zombies back. But the more he yelled, the guiltier we looked. I grabbed Mikey before he punched a geriatric patient. Go get the director now. Still here, Brenda scoffed. Thick skin on this one. I whipped out my wallet and slammed my ID card on her desk. Read it. Learn to read sex mail. Brenda picked it up, squinted at the photo, then flicked it back at me like it was contaminated. Nice try. Who is this fat kid in the buzz cut? You think a fake ID is gonna fool me? I'm not a bouncer at a dive bar, sweetie. Okay, so I lost 50 pounds of fat, got shredded, and grew my hair out. Is the change really that drastic? That is me. It's called a gym membership. Pay the deposit for the miscarriage treatment or get out, she said dismissively. I picked up my ID. I guess I need to update my photo. But this is a war now. You declare a miscarriage just by looking at me? Do you have X-ray vision or just shit for brains? I challenged. Brenda smoothed her white coat. I have experience. I can smell a desperate, pregnant hoe from a mile away. I turned to the crowd in the hall. You hear this? She doesn't run tests. She guesses. What if she guesses your cancer is just a tummy ache? You trust this quack that planted a seed? The crowd shifted uneasily. Yeah, actually she should run tests, someone muttered. She is kind of young. Maybe she's guessing, another whispered. Seeing the tide turn, Brenda panicked. Look at the chair, she said. Her stomach hurts and she's bleeding profusely. If I send her for scans and she hemorrhages in the elevator, that's a lawsuit. I'm trying to save a life here. She pointed a bony finger at the chair I'd been sitting in. Look at the pants. Soaked. I looked down. My hemorrhoid had betrayed me. The pad Mikey gave me was saturated and had leaked through my sweatpants. I'm a dude. I don't have a uterus. I yelled. I wanted to drop my pants right there, but with my luck, she'd accuse me of flashing and I'd end up on the sex offender registry. Splats. A wet, heavy sound hit the floor. Oh my God. It's a chunk of the baby. Someone freaked. I looked down. The blood-soaked maxi pad had slipped down my leg and landed sticky side up on the linoleum. Dead silence, then chaos. Brenda smirked. Look, King triumphant. I've never met a man who wears a sanitary napkin with wings. Looks like heavy flow. Honey, say goodbye to that baby you didn't want. Oh Lord, child, lay down. An older woman rushed in, grabbing my arm. You're losing the baby. It's a hemorrhoid. I roared, but nobody was listening. Save the mother. Someone yelled. Just then Mikey returned, dragging a tired-looking man in a lab coat. Director Vance. Director, this patient is miscarrying and refusing treatment, making a scene. Brenda lied instantly, putting on her concerned, professional mask. My bro isn't pregnant. He's a dude. Mikey screamed. Director Vance sighed, looking at the blood, the pad, and my long hair. Miss Dr. Stahl is a top physician. If she says it's a threatened miscarriage, we need to act. We can check the gender later, but right now, safety first. He was covering for his staff. Classic no. I stood up, blood still oozing. I demand an ultrasound right now. If I have a uterus, I'll give you $1 million. If not, she gets fired. You want to gamble with your life? Brenda hissed. She leaned in close, whispering in my ear. We know you're just a slut who got caught. Just admit it. I ignored her. I want the test. I'm not paying a dime until I see a picture of a fetus. Vance looked at the crowd filming on their phones. Fine, get the ultrasound, but sign a waiver. If you bleed out, we aren't liable. Deal. I said the ultrasound room was colder than the hallway. A dim little box that smelled like rubbing alcohol and impending lawsuits. The technician, a guy named Gary who looked like he'd rather be cleaning porta potties at Coachella than be in this room, squeezed a glob of blue gel onto the wand. Okay, Gary mumbled, avoiding eye contact. Dr. Stahl ordered a pelvic. Just lift the shirt. Dr. Brenda Stahl stood in the corner, arms crossed like a prison warden, tapping her foot. Director Vance hovered by the door, sweating through his collar. Mikey was filming the whole thing, muttering "World Star" under his breath. Go on, Brenda snapped. Find the sack. Prove this junkie is lying. I gritted my teeth and yanked my hoodie up. My abs were currently distended from the bloating, but the definition was still there. Gary paused, looking at the dense muscle. He hesitated, then pressed the cold wand against my lower stomach. Silence. Just the hum of the machine and the wet squelch of the wand moving around. Gary squinted at the monitor. He adjusted the contrast. He pushed harder. Well, Brenda barked. How far along? 10 weeks? 12. Gary cleared his throat, sweat beading on his upper lip. A doctor? What? I'm having trouble locating the uterus. Don't be incompetent, Gary. Brenda shoved him aside, grabbing the wand. Give me that. You have to angle it down to account for the bladder. She jammed the wand into my gut with the grace of a jackhammer. I winced. Easy lady. That's my intestine. She ignored me, her eyes glued to the screen. The grainy black and white image shifted. There were organs, sure. A bladder. A colon. But there was a distinct biological lack of a womb. It's retroverted, she muttered, panic starting to fringe the edges of her voice. It's tilted back. Or she has a bicornuate uterus and it's hiding. Or, I said, my voice dry as the Sahara. I'm a dude, you absolute psychopath. Impossible, she hissed. I saw the blood. I saw the pad. Move the wand down, I commanded. Excuse me. You want to find the plumbing? Move the wand down. Check the prostate. While you're at it, check the external hardware. Brenda froze. The room was dead silent. Director Vance took a step forward. Dr. Stahl. She's a hermaphrodite, Brenda stammered, her face turning a splotchy red. That's it. Genetic anomaly. It's a medical marvel. Gary, I looked at the tech. Dumi a favor. Hand me a towel. Gary handed me a paper towel. I wiped the blue glop off my stomach, stood up, and looked Director Vance dead in the eye. With a fluid motion, I hooked my thumbs into the waistband of my boxers. Whoa. Vance yelped, covering his eyes like a Victorian maiden. I didn't go full Monty. I'm not a criminal, but I lowered them enough. Just the waistband. Enough to reveal the unmistakable, coarse hair trail, and the lack of anything resembling female anatomy. Do I need to turn to the side and cough? I asked. Mikey zoomed in with his phone. Confirmed. No baby cave. That's a Twig and Berry situation, folks. Brenda Stahl stared. Her mouth opened, closed, and opened again. The arrogance drained out of her face, replaced by a sheer, terrifying realization that her medical license was currently circling the drain. That's a prosthetic, she whispered, her voice trembling. It has to be. You want to touch it to verify? I snapped. Because I'm pretty sure that counts as sexual assault, and I will press charges. Director Vance looked like he was having a stroke. He grabbed Brenda by the arm. Dr. Stahl. Outside. Now. But now. Vance roared. As they dragged her out, I heard her frantic voice echoing down the hall. It's a trick. It's a hormone thing. He's taking testosterone. I slumped back onto the exam table, the adrenaline crashing. My ass still hurt. I was still bleeding. So, Gary said, breaking the silence. I guess we don't need the pelvic? Just check my ass, Gary, I sighed. Just check my ass. 2 hours later, I was finally stitched up. It wasn't just a hemorrhoid. I'd actually torn a small fissure. Nothing life-threatening, but painful enough to make a grown man cry. They gave me a donut cushion, a script for painkillers, and discharged me with a bill that Director Vance assured me would be taken care of. Mikey drove us home in silence, mostly because he was busy uploading the footage. Dude, don't post that, I groaned, leaning back in the Corinthian leather. Too late, Mikey said, tapping the screen. It's already on TikTok. Karen Doctor versus Pregnant Gym Bro. You have 50,000 likes in 10 minutes. I hate you. You love me. I'm your PR manager. By tomorrow, you'll be the face of men's rights or something. Or maybe a feminine hygiene mascot. I went home, took a painkiller, and passed out face down on my mattress. I woke up to my phone vibrating itself off the nightstand. It was noon. I had 400 missed texts. My Instagram, which usually just had pictures of my meal prep and deadlifts, had exploded. I opened Twitter. Trending number 1. Hashtag manpads. Trending number 2. Hashtag FireDrBrenda. The video Mikey posted was everywhere. It showed the argument in the waiting room, Brenda's smug damaged goods speech, and the climax where I offered $1 million for a uterus. But the internet, being the internet, had dug deeper. A threat by user at Nurse Ratchet exposed read. I worked with Dr. Brenda Stahl in Chicago 3 years ago. She got fired for telling a cancer patient her tumor was just God punishing her for her tattoos. How is she still practicing? Another one. She told my sister her appendicitis was period cramps and sent her home. Appendix burst. She almost died. I sat up, wincing as the stitches pulled. This wasn't just about me anymore. This woman was a menace with a stethoscope. She saw the world through a filter of bias and hate. And I was just the latest victim. My phone rang. An unknown number. Hello. Is this Mr. Jax Taylor? A slick, deep voice answered. Speaking. This is Marcus Thorne. I'm an attorney. I saw the video. I also represent 3 other former patients of Dr. Stahl. I'm outside your apartment. I looked out the window. A black G-Wagon was double parked next to Mikey's beat-up sedan. Come on up, I said. Marcus Thorne looked like he ate bricks for breakfast and washed them down with expensive scotch. He sat on my cheap IKEA sofa in a 3-piece suit that cost more than my car. Here's the situation, Jax, Thorne said, laying a folder on the coffee table. Director Vance called me this morning. The hospital is terrified. They want to offer you a settlement. $52,000. Non-disclosure agreement. You take down the video, you say it was a misunderstanding, you go away. 50 grand. Mikey whistled from the kitchen, holding a bag of chips. Bro, that's a lot of protein powder. It's insult money, Thorne corrected, not even looking at Mikey. They committed malpractice, defamation of character, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and potential gender discrimination under the state's medical access laws. Plus, she violated HIPAA by shouting your medical business, or her imagined version of it, to a waiting room full of strangers. I don't care about the money, I said, shifting on my donut cushion. I mean, I do, I'm broke. But she called me a skank. She told the whole room I was a whore. She needs to lose her license. Thorne smiled. It was a predator's smile. That's what I wanted to hear. If we settle, she moves to another hospital. She hurt someone else. If we sue, we get discovery. We get her emails. We get her disciplinary file. We bury her. Let's do it, I said. Good. Don't sign anything from the hospital. Don't answer calls. And for God's sake, Mikey, keep filming. The lawsuit hit the news cycle like a bomb. Taylor versus St. Jude's Medical Center. The discovery phase was a treasure trove of horror. Thorne and his team unearthed emails from Brenda to Vance where she referred to ER patients as cattle, addicts, and waste of resources. But the smoking gun was her notes on me. Time, 2:15 a.m. Patient, female, approximate 25. Symptoms, vaginal bleeding. Diagnosis, threatened abortion. Notes, patient is hostile, delusional, presenting with male pattern hirsutism. Likely drug-induced psychosis. She had written the diagnosis before she even examined me. She saw long hair and blood, and her bias filled in the rest. The deposition was scheduled for 3 weeks later. In the meantime, my life got weird. I couldn't go to the gym without people asking to sign my weightlifting belt. A sanitary pad company actually offered me a sponsorship deal. I turned it down, though Mikey tried to convince me that "Real Men Bleed" was a catchy slogan. I went back to the gym for the first time since the incident. I was doing light cardio, trying not to rip my stitches. A woman walked up to me. She was small, mousy, looking terrified. "Are you Jax?" she asked. "Yeah." "I saw the news," she whispered. "Dr. Stahl delivered my baby last year. She dropped him." My blood ran cold. "What?" "She dropped him on the table. He broke his clavicle. She wrote in the report that he had brittle bones and called CPS on me for malnutrition. I spent 6 months fighting to keep my son." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Thank you for doing this." Nobody believed me. I felt a fire ignite in my chest that had nothing to do with the gym burn. This wasn't funny anymore. It wasn't a meme. It was war. The conference room was sterile. Brenda Stahl sat across from me, flanked by 3 hospital lawyers. She looked tired, but the arrogance was still there, etched into the lines around her mouth. She kept glaring at my hair. Thorne started gently. He established her credentials, her history. Then he went for the throat. "Dr. Stahl," Thorne said, sliding a photo across the table. It was a still from the video Mikey took. "Can you identify this object?" "It is a sanitary napkin," she said stiffly. "And can you tell me the medical protocol for diagnosing a miscarriage in a biological male?" "Objection," the hospital lawyer barked. "Argumentative." "I'll rephrase," Thorne said smoothly. "Dr. Stahl, did you physically examine the patient's genitalia before announcing to the waiting room that he was a damaged skank?" Brenda tightened her jaw. Visual triage suggested. "Did you examine?" "No," she spat. "The patient was uncooperative." "Uncooperative?" Thorne laughed. "He offered you $1 million to give him an ultrasound. He gave you his ID, which states male. Did you look at the ID?" "It looked fake," she mumbled. "You're a bouncer now?" I interjected. "Mr. Taylor, please." Thorne silenced me with a hand. He turned back to Brenda. "Dr. Stahl, do you believe men can get pregnant?" "No, of course not." "Then why did you double down? Why, even after the ultrasound showed no uterus, did you claim it was a trick?" Brenda slammed her hand on the table. "Because he looks like one. Look at him. The hair, the clothes. He came in whining about pain. Men don't whine like that." He was hysterical. It was a female presentation. I rely on my instincts. The room went silent. The court reporter typed furiously. "So," Thorne said, his voice deadly quiet. "You diagnosed him based on a stereotype. You ignored medical evidence because the patient didn't act manly enough for you." "I used my intuition," Brenda screamed, standing up. "I have 20 years of experience. I know a slut when I see one." Thorne leaned back, closing his folder. "We're done here." The video of the deposition leaked. We didn't leak it, officially. But let's just say Mikey is very good with computers and very bad at keeping secrets. The public outcry was instantaneous. The medical board convened an emergency hearing. The hospital, realizing they were defending a radioactive liability, cut her loose. Director Vance held a press conference. "St. Jude's Medical Center has terminated Dr. Stahl's contract effective immediately," Vance read from a paper, looking like a hostage. "We are reviewing all her past cases. We apologize to Mr. Taylor and the community." But it wasn't over. We went to court for damages. The jury took 2 hours. They awarded me $1.2 million in damages. But more importantly, the judge referred the case to the district attorney for criminal negligence charges regarding the baby she dropped and the appendix case. 6 months later, I was back at the squat rack, 315 pounds on the bar. The fear was there, a phantom pain in my gut, but I pushed it down. I wrapped my belt tight. Lightweight, baby. Mikey yelled from behind me, spotting. I descended. The depth was good. I powered up. 1 rep, 2 reps, 5. I racked the bar. The noise echoed through the gym. I wasn't just the weird hemorrhoid guy anymore. I was Jax, the guy who took down the monster. I walked over to the water fountain and saw a familiar face on the TV mounted in the corner. It was Brenda Stahl. She was in an orange jumpsuit, looking significantly less smug as she was let out of a courtroom. She'd been sentenced to 3 years for criminal negligence and falsifying medical records. Couldn't happen to a nicer lady, Mikey said, slapping my shoulder. She called me a skank. I chuckled, shaking my head. Yeah, well, you're a rich skank now. I picked up my gym bag. Hey, Mike. Yeah, thanks for the pad. Seriously. That night you saved my ass. Literally. Mikey grinned. Anytime, bro. But next time, maybe just check your ass before you call me screaming about dying. Deal. We walked out into the sunlight. I sat in the passenger seat of Mikey's car, careful not to ruin the leather. It felt good to be whole. It felt good to be vindicated. And somewhere, in a glove box far away, a Tiffany's emergency kit was waiting for the next disaster. But for now we were just 2 dudes, driving fast, with nothing to hide and everything to gain.